Okay, Chapter 11, Section 4 for geometry. We have three-dimensional figures. What we're going to talk about a little bit is different types and different labels and different pieces of three-dimensional figures. Again, something that's going to have some depth to it, a length, a width, a height, and just be three-dimensional. Okay, so here's a few three-dimensional figures that, I just drew freehand and went ahead and colored them in. I'm really good at coloring inside the lines. Now I have them on a computer program. Good times. So we are looking at a cube in the middle, and we have a cone on the outside. And then on the right-hand side, we have a rectangular prism. And so we'll talk about those here in just a little bit. So looking at the rectangular prism, let's identify some pieces of it. So I'm going to go different colors and see if this will show up. So right here, and it's really all the way around, but I'm just going to show this one right here. That is what's called an edge. Okay, edges are lines. Okay, so the circular base of a cone would not be an edge. And so then we have, let's see, what can I do this one in? Let's go yellow. That should be a good contradiction of colors. Oop, I had a little trouble there in the middle. So each one of these pieces that is put together, and again, it's the same thing over here, so I could take this one. Okay, those are called faces. Okay, so we've got edges and we've got faces, and then all of the little angles. Let's see, I don't know if blue will work out, maybe green. Let's go green, a little bit smaller. All of the little angles, the back angles, the front angles, the top angles, any of them, and even over here on this cone. I'll let you write that over here. These are called, I about wrote, edges again. These are our vertex, or plural would be vertices. Okay, so just different properties of three-dimensional shapes. And so looking at the two on the right, these are polyhedron. Polyhedron is something it's a solid and it's bounded by polygons that are faces. And so technically, if we look at a cone or something like that, since we've got round on the bottom, then not a polyhedron. A cylinder is not a polyhedron. A sphere is not a polyhedron. A pyramid would be a polyhedron, and so it's just got different aspects. Okay, so understanding that the curvedness is going to take away something being a polyhedron. Now, what makes the third one a rectangular prism? It's because the rectangle is the piece of the three-dimensional. So that doesn't, I don't like the way I said that. If I take all of the edges and connect them and I have a face, okay, the other face on the opposite side, it's parallel to that, and the two faces that are also perpendicular to that, that is what determines that is a rectangular prism. A cube, what makes it a cube instead of a rectangular prism, technically it is a rectangular prism, but the cube would be that they would all be the same length. All of the edges would be the same. Okay, so you're going to have quite a few questions and just identifying the polyhedron. Also, let's say that I took this cone and I did a little fruit ninja action, and maybe I cut it right down the middle. So they might ask you what a cross section of a cone is. Well, if I took that cone and cut right down the middle and I opened it up kind of like a book, it would be a circle inside. So it would have a circular cross section. Some that might be a little bit deceiving if I were to slice the cone vertically. Okay, so if I were to slice it this way and I would open it up, then it would look more like a triangle. And if let's see if I can find a cylinder here real quick. If I cross-sectioned a cylinder, let's see, cylinder. Oh, whoop, there's one. So let's say I move this cylinder over here, and I were to take, oh, I don't want to do that. And I were to take it, let's say if I even rotated it this way. If I cut it right down the middle, kind of imagine what it would look like if you took a pop can or a can of corn and cut it right down the middle. Since it's actually flat on the top and the bottom, it would actually be a rectangle, the cross section of a cylinder. So this is just some different looks. So we might also take some three-dimensional figures and rotate them around. That won't be too big of a deal. It's just going to change the orientation. It won't actually change the shape. So that's just a little bit of introduction to three-dimensional figures. We're going to use that to get us into surface area and that type of stuff in the upcoming sections. So that is Chapter 11, Section 4, three-dimensional figures.